Good day. In this video, we're going to look at quadrilaterals, the special ones. We're going to look at their properties and try and see if we can find a way to memorize it and correlate them. A quadrilateral is any four-sided closed-up shape of which the interior angles add up to 360. The way to really understand this video is to stop the video like now and then say what I've taught you already. Then as you go on, you stop the video and say everything I've said previously. And as we go on, you stop the video again, you say everything that we said previously to that again. The first special one we're going to do is a trapezium. A trapezium is a quadrilateral, the same as what we learned previously, with one pair of opposite sides parallels. We've got one pair parallel there. Then I also mentioned that you don't have to say, see that the co-interior angles are supplementary. So these two add up to 180 and these two add up to 180. You don't have to say that. The next quadrilateral we're going to look at is a parallelogram. According to me, the most important quadrilateral in the world. His features are very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn them and we're going to use them on the other quadrilaterals. You'll see as we go. So the first feature is that a parallelogram is a quadrilateral. So his interior angles add up to 360. You don't have to say that. The next property is his opposite sides are parallel. That's where the name parallelogram comes from. So that purple is parallel and the blue ones are parallel. Two pairs. So you just say the opposite sides are parallel. Next property, the opposite sides are equal. The two blue ones are equal, the two purple ones are equal. The next feature is that the opposite angles are equal. So the two blue ones here are equal and the two purple angles are equal. The next property is that the diagonals bisect each other. People have trouble with the word diagonals and the word bisect. Bisect means cut in half into two equal parts. So this purple and this purple part is equal, and this blue part is equal. Diagonals bisect one another. Get your brain around the word diagonals and bisect. And then also the diagonals bisect the area. I just took one of the diagonals, and you can see this is the whole parallelogram. That's half of it, and that's the other half of it. But we're not going to spend much time on this video. So all the properties together, a parallelogram is a quadrilateral, interior angle 360. The opposite sides are parallel, the opposite sides are equal, the opposite angles are equal, and the diagonals bisect one another. Please stop the video and make sure you understand these properties of a parallelogram. Now this is where you have to get your brain around the properties. The next shape you're going to do is a rectangle. That you've been doing since grade 1, so that's very, very easy. But let's look at the properties. A rectangle is a parallelogram. That implies that all the properties that we learned over here, we can now apply over here. So the opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are equal, opposite angles are equal, the diagonals bisect one another, and the diagonals bisect the area. So all those properties I can just pull in here without learning them again. But how does he differ from the parallelogram? All his angles is 90 degrees. And all the diagonals are equal. Now you stop the video and you explain to me what a quadrilateral is. You explain to me what a trapezium is. You explain to me the properties of a parallelogram. And then you say a rectangle is a parallelogram with all the previous properties and all his angles is 90 degrees and the diagonals are equal. The next shape we're going to do is the rhombus. Primary school we used to call it a diamond. You have to get this name into your brain now. It's a rhombus. Now the properties. See how nice this becomes. A rhombus is a parallelogram. That means all these features will also apply to him. But all his sides are equal in length. You can see that if you look at it creatively. All four of the sides are equal. Remember I warned you about these words. Diagonals is those two lines over there. They bisect. Those two pieces are equal, those two pieces are equal, but perpendicularly. On the rhombus, they meet at 90 degrees over there, there, and there. That's special. I say these big words again. The diagonals bisect, cut in half, equal pieces, perpendicularly 90 degrees. The last feature, these diagonals also bisect the angles. It means where the line goes in here, those two pieces are equal, so are those two, so are those two, and so are those two. And because from the parallelogram this angle and this angle is equal, all four of these guys are equal, and all four of these guys are equal. The next shape we're going to do is the square, the properties of a square. We can say a square is a parallelogram, but the question is what is extra from these properties? Is all angles are 90 degrees? the diagonals are equal, and then it also is a rhombus. So a square is a rhombus with all the features of a rhombus, which means all the sides are equal. It means the diagonals are meeting at 90 degrees and bisecting each other. The diagonals are also bisecting the angles, so all 8 these angles will be equal. This is a lot of words, but not a lot of facts. So the properties are the same as a parallelogram and the same as a rhombus, and then the angles are just 90 degrees and the diagonals are equal, makes it different from a rhombus. The last special quadrilateral we're going to do is a kite. And you will see I got rid of the properties of the parallelogram. So a kite is a quadrilateral with 2 pairs of adjacent sides equal. In this case, the pair of red sides and the pair of blue adjacent sides. It has 1 pair of opposite angles equal, this x and this x, that whole angles. The one diagonal is bisected, so those 2 blue lines are equal in length. The long diagonal bisects the angles, so that E and E is the same size, and that F is the same size. This last feature, the diagonals meet perpendicularly. So there where the 2 diagonals meet, all 4 of those round blue dots are 90 degrees. Please stop the video and get your brain around the kite. He is a little bit different from all the other quadrilaterals, so he must be seen in a different way. It's not a parallelogram, for instance. Just throwing everything together, when you work with quadrilaterals, you should first know that a quadrilateral's interior angles add up to 360. Then the first one with a little bit of properties is a trapezium with his properties. Then the kite is totally different. So we learn his properties separately and we look at him creatively. Then we learn the properties of a parallelogram. And all 4 of these shapes are parallelograms. Get your brain around that. And then these 2 are also, although they are parallelograms, they have the situation of the diagonals being perpendicular and bisecting the angles. So try and get the properties into certain categories and get your brain around this. Please indicate whether you liked or disliked this video and subscribe to the channel. If you run into any mathematical school problem that you can't solve, you can send the problem with a clear WhatsApp photo to this number. Then we'll try and solve it and send back an answer to you as soon as possible for free. Enjoy the geometry.